Okay, Finance Committee, October 3rd, 9 a.m. And call the roll.
Alt.
Here.
Bowers.
Yes.
Curtis.
Yes.
Sinat. Young.
Yes.
Johnson. Yes. McTaggart.
Yes. Call the meeting to order. We have a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All, Bowers, all in favor? Aye. We have public comments. No public again? Okay. Myron, you got us on liability and general insurance?
Yeah, we're coming up on renewal in December.
Okay.
I've got some information that I need to have a meeting with and figure out. Is it Jill or Amanda, or is that the meeting that we need to set up?
Probably Jill.
Okay.
So I'll get in touch with your office and we'll line something up to, it's like a simple questionnaire.
Okay.
See where we're at on everything, and that's where the premium will be generated. So I'll have that ready.
Okay. Any expectations that we're gonna get a lower or anything?
You know, it's all depends on what information that you feed me, like what's changed as far as vehicles, payroll, you know, claims activities, things like that, you know.
Okay.
It's all generated from that.
All right, very good. Okay, Susie?
Okay, well, we have some, last meeting I said I was waiting to hear back from Health Alliance.
Yeah.
On some additional relief. We did get some, so I'm gonna pass out our packets here.
So we met like at 2 days or very shortly after you met with Jill and
Yes.
and Amanda. Is this reflective of that, or has it changed?
Was that her lunch? Yep, 7.5.
This is the same? Okay,
Yes.
okay. I was just hoping you came back with even lower numbers.
I know, me too, but, so what we started is you grab your packet, the right side has the Health Alliance, basically the stages of the renewals that we had gone through. So, with that, when Health Alliance started with the original renewal, it was 17%. Our rep, Susan, said it should have been 26%, but they gave us 17 originally. I was able to work it down from there to the second page to 12%, which was still very high. Trend right now is about 8 to 10%. So I went back to Susan and said, hey, I have competitive stuff from your competitive rates and plans from United Healthcare. This is your last chance. I'm going to recommend they make the change if you don't come down any additional on the rates. So our last page is our final renewal at 7.5. Now it is under trend. We did have a very, we had high claims this year, which is the cause for our large renewal increase, but getting it down from when it was supposed to be 26, they gave us 17, getting it down to 7.5 is huge. That's good. We looked around and asked about, talked about a 2-year rate guarantee. They said this year they would not allow for the 2-year rate guarantee, but they will revisit that again next year based on how the renewal is looking. Just to give some history, past renewals from 2015, we had a 0 increase. 2016 was a 5% increase. 2017, a 4.29% decrease. And then 2018 was a 4% increase, and now for 2019, we're at 7.5. So we've stayed pretty good at where we're at. You're gonna have years where it's worse than other years. This is one of those years, but we were able to get it down to that 7.5%, which is good. Now, we do have rates. If we look at that third page, I'm showing 2 plans from United Healthcare. The guts of these plans are the exact same. The only difference is the networks. So we have a core PPO network and a Choice Plus PPO network. Out in Kankakee County, Will County, and even Iroquois County, those networks mirror each other, so you would really just look at that core network. It's up in Cook County, the hospital is up in Chicago, where it's different. The Choice Plus network, which is the larger network, is gonna have Northwestern, Loyola, University of Chicago, and Rush. The core network has Northwestern, Loyola, and Rush. And as of 11/1, they'll have Lurie's Children's Hospital in as well. So the only difference is you don't have University of Chicago under the core, but you still have your Northwestern, your Rush, and your Loyola. Their plan design is a little different. Any preventative care would still be covered at 100%, but then our co-payments would go from a $20 co-payment to a $30 co-payment. for primary care. And for the specialty, right under that, it's at a 40, it would go to a $60 copayment. Now, the plan deductible now with Health Alliance is at a $7,350 deductible, and then you guys have your HRA attached to that. United Healthcare would be a $5,000 deductible, and then there would still be additional coinsurance after that. It is 100% coinsurance after the deductible, but you see an out-of-pocket max of $6,350. That's where your co-payments are going to come in and eat away at the rest of your out-of-pocket amount. So the HRA would basically be based off of the deductible like it is now. And we can continue the HRA with BPC. The only downfall is right now the claims run directly from Health Alliance to BPC for the members. So then those claims are processed under the HRA and they get their checks automatically without having to submit claims. United Healthcare will not have that claims feed. It would be up to employees to submit their claims to the HRA to get reimbursed. Any questions on, or any thoughts? The rates shown include the $6.25 HRA fee that is charged through BPC.
To a certain degree, that one you're talking about
The core,
is, yeah, the core, the other option. From a financial perspective to the county is about a flat,
right,
no increase in the county's cost.
and
And
we
even
know,
from the individual's cost, I mean, yeah, it's $10 more a copay, but the deductible's
lower.
significantly lower. I mean,
Well, with the HRA though, their deductible won't change.
right.
So,
I
but for
mean,
you guys, the cost that you're paying out through the HRA would go lower, it would be lower as well because your deductible's lower.
I mean, so-
Have you done the employee thing?
We haven't done, have you guys sent out? No, we haven't done an employee,
I mean, to me, that, if there's a way we can make that work, I don't know that's any, on the surface, doesn't look much worse for the employee, and it's a lot better for the county.
and we have to think too, though, I mean, yes, absolutely, and we know that our renewal next year won't exceed 7.9 with United Healthcare. They'll give us that renewal cap. It's just the extra work that has to be done to get the HRA reimbursed, the employees turning in those to BPC to
I
get
think we should do
reimbursed.
a little fair thing again and explain that, because that way it's upfront that the employees will know it's on your shoulders. Don't come after the fact.
Right, because it's very, I mean, they're used to having it feed directly to BPC and then just waiting for that, which is a nice benefit. Just getting that, not, it's just now, instead of it feeding direct, employees are gonna have to say, okay, I'm submitting this through. Claims might process a little quicker because it's usually a 60-day lag time with Health Alliance to BPC. So they might get their money back a little quicker by submitting that
Right.
without having the claims feed. So there's some, pros and cons to that.
But when you look at the deductibles and everything, I think they would all be very excited about that.
Yeah, I think, and
Right,
then
but-
it saves us
But they need to know
55,000.
flat out, this is your
Exactly,
responsibility.
yes. Now, we do have the benefits fair set up for November 13th and 14th, but I would assume we'd want to do something before that, pulling the employees to find out what they would.
Well, I think from a budget perspective, we got what I would call the worst case scenario, which is, well, the current, whatever the name is.
Right, Health Alliance?
Health Alliance.
Yes,
And so if we can, if
Just
everybody,
present those two.
I mean, present those two, and if we
Right.
can get moved over to United Healthcare, that helps our budget. I mean, that's
Okay.
a positive impact. Quite frankly, I think from the employee perspective, it looks pretty
No,
good.
it doesn't look
And
bad.
it's $55,000 for the county, so that would be very good.
okay, and then on the other side, we do have the dental. We're getting a decrease on the dental with Delta Dental, so I think that's just a easy peasy renewal there. It's going
Yep.
down just a bit, so that's good for the employees as well. And we have the base plan as well as the buy-up plan again. I haven't gotten our renewal from Kansas City Life yet, but once we do, we'll look at that and work on getting that down if there is any rate increase on that. So at this point, are we gonna wait to poll the employees to see what they would like to do? Do you want me to send you guys something on that, or will you just be, and how do we want to do that?
I think you should present it.
Present
So
it?
If they have questions.
So should we pick a day where I'm here or where I'm here like we did before? I think we did this,
In the morning and in the afternoon.
Yeah.
two different-
A year or two ago.
Okay, and I will get with,
I think what we did last time, probably, it sounded like it worked, so.
Yeah.
okay, I'll get with Jill and Amanda on a date to come out and, talk with the employees to see what they think.
Very
Okay,
good, thank you.
you're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, department head reports. Eric?
All right, I have one employee that is officially gone as of September the 27th. This was planned. We've already got a replacement employee in place. Seems to be doing well thus far, so we should have a lessening of overtime. Grants, there's been no changes since the last time I talked to it. ETSB met last night. They did not finalize their budget. They have a special meeting planned for October the 23rd to discuss their budget, which will give us still enough time to make sure that it's presented 30 days before its implementation. The $200,000 is, what was that question? Because when we were at our last few meetings, the $200,000 coming from public safety tax seemed to be more of a, well, conditional upon grants. ETSB would prefer to see we're getting the $200,000, not conditional upon grants.
Okay,
And if the board can commit to that, especially with the additional funds that are coming from ETSB, they would be okay with taking in the additional. In your budget books, you'll see a total amount of approximately $255,000 coming from ETSB, which was considerably more after other changes. Jill and I had sat down with the discussion and made some other modifications.
Yeah.
But at the bottom line is the $200,000 is what they would like to see to come to ETSB. We have plenty in capital expenses regardless of grants.
I think, I don't know how, John, you got anything to say?
Something we can discuss further.
Yeah.
What was the comment?
We'll have to discuss it further here, but I think the sentiment was we were planning on supporting the projects. It was just, we didn't want to lock in a certain dollar amount as if it was, it sounded like there's a very good likelihood we're going to get the grants. So to allocate money or appropriate money, saying we're going to spend all that money, when in reality, we're hopefully high likelihood we're actually not going to spend that money. Seems like we're overcommitting dollars that we.
Maybe, but I agree with you. We don't want to spend any more than we have to.
Right.
ETSB's goal is to not spend more than absolutely necessary.
Sure.
But with last year's, we contributed $225,000, and now this year it's even more to lessen the cost towards the county and the city of Watsika. They're looking for some sureties to make sure that we have our bases covered.
I understand. Okay.
Mike, one thing we have to keep in mind also is that the 911 statute sunsets next summer. We don't know what it's gonna be like going forward, how much money will be coming in from the telephone surcharge. And that's a key ingredient in the whole picture, so.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Stacy?
I have some comments about the EMA budget, but I think we can save that for when we have discussion budget
Okay.
later on in the agenda.
Yep.
So over the past month or two, we got a finalized commodity flow study from American Environmental. That was a project that was paid for through the EMA budget with the help of the HMEP grant. So it's nice to have that final project done. The HMEP grant is going to close out here. The last day was September 30th. That was a 3-year grant, and I did not apply for another 3-year period. It's over the past 5 years become increasingly more difficult to comply with the deliverables of that grant, and there are portions of it that we didn't use, so we're going to take a break for 3 years and then reconsider after that. Financially, that's about it. You'll see a bunch of claims from me because my grants and both of my grants end September 30th, and I had board policy procedure, I needed time to process those claims. So you'll see a lot of claims from me today.
Okay.
Pretty normal, and they're all within budget.
Very good. Sheriff?
I have a new employee hired for a correctional officer, had one leave, earlier in September, so in the process of training that person, and, can't think of anything else.
Very good. Joel?
Nothing major.
Okay. Lisa?
The only thing I have is already an item on the agenda.
Okay, yep, very good. Ken?
Yeah, I was in Chicago when I talked to George, and so I had him send me a little, quick email. They've added, I'm talking about George Kucha at, T&D. They've added another big box store, so large sporting goods, company, chain actually on the west coast, which they expect orders to start coming in from them by the first of the year. He said their order book has grown. They're still only at the initial 11 jobs that they created when they started up, because they're still only running one full shift. He says that things should solidify and pick up pace going forward here. Expecting by December and January to see additional retailers on board and possibly to go into another shift. So seems to be going the way it should. We've always allowed them 2 years from the time that they got the money to hit full employment. I think they will hit that much quicker, but they're stable. Their orders are increasing, and it still looks like a good deal. And Kurt's not here, so I put words in his mouth. He said all the payments were up to date. Jill can probably agree.
Yeah, I just verified with the wrong.
Yeah, so that's it. It's working out good.
Very good. Chris, you got anything?
My item's on the agenda, I don't know if you want me to talk about that now, it's about the employee for snow removal. I don't know if we're.
I guess we'll wait till we get down there,
I don't have
but
that sheet in front of me.
yeah, it's a couple of items down, but we'll get to it. Okay, if you don't have anything else, we'll wait. Okay. Jill, you got anything else, or we go to
No,
the?
I just, mine's already on there.
Okay. The next thing was the approval of the fiscal year 19 audit engagement letter.
I had sent a copy to John, and I brought a copy as well, if you want to pass that around.
What has changed, or what's
There's, after speaking with Hope, there's no changes. There's just an additive increase just for the Cipher report that needs to be done every year now. It's new. We are in the process. We've completed it and submitted it. A couple things have come back, but we're gonna wait and see after the whole Cipher has been reviewed before we go in and make those changes and submit again. Other than that, Hope has stated there's not many changes, just an additional cost for the Cipher and additional cost for the on-site visits, yes. And she is coming October 30th for the day to go over and see where we're at for the year.
Very good. And we, I guess, having a year of going through all that with you guys being in the office together and stuff, do you feel like we're in a better spot than a year ago, I guess, or?
We're getting caught up, we're getting better, definitely learning some more things. I did sign up for a couple of training sessions, so, yeah, we're definitely getting a better hold on things.
Okay. I guess you guys can look at that. The fees are on the page that I got open, but. I guess we need a motion is what you're saying here. Okay. So the audit itself is the same amount of money, the $42,900. The
additional cost.
The Cipher, they're estimating at 1,000, but won't know until they get into it. And then they had $4,500 to $6,500 they're estimating for additional gap adjustments and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
That-
The Cipher it took us a lot of work to, and a lot of that just because it's new this year, but we're still continuing to work on that one.
my personal feeling is that I think given Jill and Amanda taking on more responsibility and since Anita left and all those kind of things, having them stay consistent for the time being here and continuing with them is add some level of stability. I'm not saying we shouldn't look at maybe doing something different in the future or at least entertaining that idea, but I think having them that have been around now for a decade or close to it, it
Yeah.
helps add some level of stability while we're kind of
Yeah.
getting up to speed on some of those things.
There's
Kind of my
a good
opinion.
relationship there,
Yeah,
hopefully.
and they seem to be pretty easy to work with.
They are. In fact, we have a call today, so.
So if that's the case, then we need a motion.
Well, I wanted to comment.
Yes.
that When we renewed this contract last time, we thought about going to a different auditor. Every so many years, we felt we should change to get a different perspective, look at our books, things
I
like
agree.
that, advantage of it. But under the circumstances, I think we better stay at least another year with this same one we have.
Yeah. I'm kind of under the same feeling that I don't think it would hurt to, as in coming years to do that, but probably now is not the best time.
Not the time. I only said it because.
So is that a motion, Charlie, to approve their?
What?
We need a motion to.
I'll make a motion to retain our present auditors, if they'll stay with us at near the same cost.
So that's a motion to approve the audit engagement letter, I believe. Do we have a second?
Gee, that's what I said before I read it, sound like a politician.
I'll second it.
Before I even had it in hand.
So we need to, we'll just do a voice.
Spending money eventually.
Okay. Call the roll.
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yeah.
Young?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yeah.
McTaggart?
Yes. Okay. Moving along, the next item is discussion and action on funding of reimbursement to landowners deeding parcels back to Iroquois County as a trustee. And this is what Lisa gave us, a piece of paper. Looks like that. Lisa, maybe you can.
So there's, 4 people that want to, or groups that want to deed their parcels back, which isn't too bad. And this is the bottom, $6,589.80 is the total amount that would need to be paid back between the 4 of them. And so I need to know we're getting ready to get those deeds prepared. And some other things have to be, some legal documents that Joseph Meyer is already helping us with to get this finished up. It's gone on a long time, and they deserve to have their money back.
I have a phone call with Hope today at 2 to go over some possible, places that we could do the refunds from.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll have an answer today.
Okay.
Is this because of the botched
Yes.
sale that we've had?
Yes.
And they have
This
no, I guess,
Responsibility.
liability or responsibility involvement with that, or it's just all on?
Well, I think that.
I think they should pay for that.
Well, they should, but that will be up to, I think that probably Joseph Meyer will negotiate with them, because they have to come in here in, I believe they start on the 14th or 15th. And because everything is still in Ballinger as trustee's name. And so all that stuff has to get, over to Joseph Meyer. And I assumed that they would, because they do have attorneys on staff, discuss this with them. And if that's not really a part of their job, then it would be our state's attorney's job because Ballingers have already been paid out. They've actually gotten paid, for these parcels, let alone the amount of money that we're gonna have to, reimburse them.
Is that to end the contract, or
Pardon?
is that to end the contract, or is that just, you said to pay them off, Ballingers? Do we have something that we have to actually pay them to end
No,
the
no.
contract, or
No.
just what we still, I know? But we still owe them money?
No, we don't owe
Okay,
them
okay.
anything, as a matter of fact,
Yeah, they owe us.
they owe us.
Right, okay.
But I believe the only way that we'll probably get this money, if we get this money back, would be the state's attorney, taking them to court for it. Not sure, that's a thought or guess.
I guess I'm not opposed to approving it, but does it, and he's not here obviously, but do we cause problems by us paying it even though it's their, when you pay a bill on somebody, can they then
Well,
say,
we have
well,
a
look, you paid the
liability.
bill, it's not our,
We have a
Probably.
liability, we contracted with Ballingers, to do the job correctly. So we do have a responsibility, and it is our job to pay them back.
okay, so we just need a motion to,
I'll make a motion that we pay them back from whatever account it's suggested from, but I also think that we need to follow up and have the state's attorney review this, because I feel that we need reimbursed for the $6,589.80.
for sure.
Great.
So we have a motion to pay the $6,589.80 to these 4 individuals, people, groups, whatever. Do we have a second? Mr. Young, take the roll.
Hall?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Johnson? Yes. McTaggart?
Yes. Then I don't know if we need to put that on the agenda for next month to follow up, or, so you're hoping that Meyer will be able to work with them, did I understand that right?
I'm hoping that they will. I don't know whether it will do them any good, because, I don't know how that all works. I do know that Joseph Meyer has to work with Ballingers, because they told us that when they came in, that will be part of the whole process, is working with them, which is not always a pleasant job. I guess there's negotiations on how to get everything, over. And since there's already some kind of negotiation going on with them, I was hoping that possibly this would be part of the negotiations, but, I just have my doubts that Ballingers will be cooperative in any way,
Right.
unless pushed.
Then I don't know if we need to keep it on the agenda for next month, or
I can keep you.
something, yeah, I mean, we just make sure we keep on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Will the future of these farms come back on another sale? Okay.
They will eventually, yes. And, well, maybe Mike, you could keep it on the agenda, because
Okay.
we'll probably know, the tax sale is the end of October. I don't believe they go on this tax sale, I think they'll show back up next year on the next tax sale. But, I think, before the tax sale happens on the last Monday in October, Joseph Meyer will have already started negotiations with Ballingers to get everything over in the proper name. And so I'll know some by the end of October, I'm assuming.
Okay. Well, then let's just make a note. We'll talk about that at the November meeting. Very good, thank you. Okay. Discussion and action on hiring a maintenance employee for snow removal. I assume that's what you were talking about.
I'm guessing all of you already know we're obviously taking snow removal back in-house this coming winter. And there's been discussion on an employee, talk about full-time, year-round, part-time, year-round, full-time winter, part-time winter, all discussed a whole bunch of stuff, but nothing's really been decided yet. And we need to do something quick, because, next month, obviously putting us into November, that's a gray area for snow, so we need to decide something here. My wish, or what I would like to ask for, is hiring a part-time person who would come in on an as-needed basis. And this could be year-round, not just necessarily in the winter for snow removal. This could be here and there in the summertime possibly, when there's a large project going on or something. They could come in and help for a day or two. And also this person, since this would be a new position for the county, I'd like to see if we could get them somewhere around like $22 an hour. And before everyone thinks twice about that, I have a couple scenarios for you here. Last winter, snow removal people came a total of 13 times. Okay. Now, say over those 13 times, this employee would come in 5 hours and help out, and we're paying them $22 an hour. That's only $1,430 over the course of a winter. Okay. Now this year, we'll keep in mind also, 2 winters ago, we paid $36,000 for snow removal. Last winter, we paid just under $40,000 for snow removal. If this person made $5,000 over the course of the year, we're still $25,000 ahead from the previous year. So, what do you think?
I guess I haven't seen the meeting minutes or anything like that, but you guys been talking with management about that? I guess I know vaguely about it, but I mean, we've never talked about that. So what the exact details of all this in finance ever before, you know? I mean, I'm familiar with it, but it's not something we've been talking about in finance, so I guess what happened in finance, or in management, and why are we, why is this group, I guess, talking about it?
Because it wasn't on the agenda for management,
Okay,
and I don't know why.
It was an oversight.
okay.
It didn't get put on 2 months ago, 2
Billy
meetings.
and Charlie are on management, and I think they contribute to the conversation.
What'd you say?
You threw us under a bus.
Yeah, I mean, we always get that.
I just say it's hard for me sitting here,
2
not being
months
on
ago,
management,
2 meetings ago.
I don't have all the background that they do, I guess.
2 meetings ago, it was discussed in depth, and that's when they decided, yeah, we're gonna take it back in-house.
We can't do
Nobody
it.
could come up with a decision on an employee. There were a lot of questions, and decided to push
Well,
it to the next meeting.
it'll have to be something
Come up
that
with a
will
bunch
be
of stuff.
established with them.
Came up in management.
I think we can
So,
come pretty
that's why
close
I'm here.
But I understand,
What he's talking about is.
And that's fine, and I get your problem, but
Starting wages are out of the highway department.
and I understand
So
it's,
I think that's
it needs to be
a little bit of a
discussed, it's just hard for,
One of the
There's a
arguments
building
were,
maintenance position we had looked at, and it's at $13.44 an hour. But I think a discussion was had as to hiring that as a full-time position and doing away with the, deleting the housekeeping position here at the admin building. That way that person would take over those duties as well as the snow plowing duties and any other, projects that Chris would need that person for.
If I may interject, I think Chris's idea with a part-time person provides us with a little more flexibility and really probably in total would cost us less money. He also has a candidate in mind for the part-time position. So I think another benefit to doing it on a part-time basis is that we think we want to go this way, but it's still going to be like a trial. And so after the end of a year or two, if we decide, no, this isn't the way to go, it's a lot easier to terminate it with a part-time person and to try and go back. When you include other duties like that. Furthermore, when Chris didn't mention what the benefits of this person could be, if they're available on a year-round basis, is that when Chris is not here on vacation, sickness, whatever, that person may be competent enough to fill in and discharge some, if not all, of his duties.
A full-time employee with insurance and IMRF at $13.12 an hour, it's right around $33,000 a year for the county. And I'll be 100% honest, I don't know that it's necessary to have a full-time employee here year-round. I really don't.
Yeah, it was just something we had talked about.
Yeah.
we don't have. a
Well, on the
job
surface,
description.
that sounds better than what that is. I agree, but I think there's, it's just.
So two
Yeah,
questions. We don't have a job description for, at this point in time, and we would probably need to check with the union rep to make sure that we're not getting ourselves into some hot water on that.
Well, it's not full-time, I mean,
If it's a new position.
I haven't looked at the ASME contract for a while, I don't know if it identifies part-time people in
I'm
there. I
going
would
by what
imagine.
John just told me, so.
Because I mean, it's really no different than the part-time housekeeper that you have here right now, 19 hours a week or whatever you're using that person. Because that housekeeping job is described in the ASME contract. So I don't know if it's something the union has to okay or sign off on or not, since it's part-time.
Well,
I think those are all questions that we need answers to, but I think today we need to take the first step of deciding which way we want to go and get the ball rolling, so that, as Chris pointed out, we may encounter some snow in November and we need to be prepared for it. So if we get the ball rolling today, I think we can find the answers to those questions without too much difficulty. Putting together a job description and whether it has to be a union position or not, and what the wages have to be. And I think, as Chris pointed out, it's not likely it's gonna be more than what he's asking it would be, and I think the nature of the job is probably where it should be, in that range too, so I don't think the union's gonna argue that point.
So what do you need, a motion? At this point, what's the contingency?
I guess, Charlie, you're on the management committee too. I guess you got anything?
No, only thing else that we left out, but didn't need to talk much about, we thought about contracting it out to a contractor, but we found out we had a lot of the cost of the contractor we would already have. In addition to his costs, we'd have with hiring somebody ourselves. So I think we should.
I guess as far as the finance committee goes, if we're supposed to sit here and care about money, which we do, it sounds like probably the points that Chris made and John said and what Jill just brought up, that it probably sounds like the most cost-effective way to address the problem.
Yeah, especially if you have somebody in mind already.
Well, if you have somebody in mind already, why can't we just wait to get it all done next month? I mean, you're just looking at,
Yeah.
don't think we're gonna have 4 feet of snow and.
Chris needs help anyway, I think more so, he's letting on. Part-time help would work well for him.
What else do we need as far as a job description?
Well, like a written job description of what the duties would be, and then how many hours you're planning on, and if, let's say we have snow 5 days a week, is that person gonna go over 29 hours, because then it's not part-time?
It doesn't matter,
So-
it's a yearly thing, not a weekly thing. As long as they stay under 1,000 hours over the course of a year.
Yeah, for IMRF, as long as they're under 1,000.
Well, does that still qualify as part-time then, or is that, because you're talking about as needed, and then you're talking part-time, that's those are separate in my mind. I guess I'm not clear on that.
Well, I mean, I guess it's just be a matter of wording. You could put in there as needed, not to exceed 1,000 hours a year, or you could put part-time, not to exceed 1,000 hours a year. Because I don't think you can have set hours for this person. Right now, your housekeeper, you've got 19 hours a week in this building. I don't think you're gonna be using this person 19 hours a week for 52 weeks, so, yeah, it's an as needed to assist maintenance, which would primarily be snow removal, and then, I mean, I don't think the job description is gonna be that hard to come up with. But I don't think you could have set hours on it.
If need be. We can probably get it done by next Tuesday if need be. And I think what the sheriff says is right, it's entirely possible that in the wintertime, if you get a snowy period, you might work 40 hours in 1 week. And then again, they might go a couple weeks without working, it's an as-needed basis, but.
Can we maybe get that language together and by Tuesday and talk about it there, or is that?
Well, you know, we can, I guess.
I mean, undoubtedly, we know how the county board goes, and they're gonna override whatever the hell we do here anyways if they don't like it. Kinda makes the committees pointless to begin with.
I realize that, but the thought was if we made a motion today to at least move in that direction of creating a part-time position and so forth. I think that's what Chris wants to do, and from what I understand in discussions with him, that makes the most sense, so. I think we can get some of the details worked out to a large extent, so.
But you don't think we could hold off voting on that until November 12th?
Well, it's better.
I mean, if he's already got somebody in mind.
But that
I
person.
don't have somebody in mind, but I'd like to make it an enticing job for somebody to come in and, instead of,
And
a
I think
wage job or something, they'll see.
If this person gets another situation offered to him, he may take that and not be there a month from now, I mean, that, to me, making that, for being able to make that commitment now makes a lot of sense moving forward. I don't see why we shouldn't be able to do that part of it. We've got all the other elements in place to do the snow removal. The highway department has been very gracious in providing us with a truck. I mean, the truck, from what I understand, is being upgraded, so it's gonna really be a good thing. And we've got the salt, we've got all the pieces in place to get this done. This is the last piece that needs to be put together, so.
I don't have a problem moving forward with the concept of it all, but it does seem like there's some of those things that definitely need to get worked out. I mean, to me, because of what they were talking about, it seems like
Yeah, it'd be
the
a safe.
cheapest, cost-effective way to do it, unless there's another idea presented. But out of the things that we have briefly discussed here, it seems better than having somebody around part-time all year long that we don't really need, or whatever other options. But yeah, there's obviously some of these things that, between the union and all that stuff, that need to get worked out, but I don't.
But that can be worked out after the fact. It helps interview sessions, if you can.
Well, anybody can make a motion, I guess, and we can move on as people see fit here. So if someone's gonna make a motion, I would say, let's make the motion.
I'll make a motion
Okay?
that we hire an as-needed employee in the maintenance department not to exceed 1,000 hours a year with the hourly wage dependent on if we need to follow the union contract up to $22 an hour. Once a job description is in place, that keeps us in line with where we need to be and what the duties will be. So that gives you the rein, if it's seconded, to start the process.
Seems reasonable to me.
Can
You
you,
got that down.
can you emphasize snow removal in case the guy doesn't wanna work in the cold?
I would trust that Chris would make sure that that was understood.
There'd be no benefits, right?
Are you okay, Amanda?
I don't have to-
Are you
I
good?
don't have a winter
Okay,
coat.
so we have a motion,
I'll second it.
we have a second from Mr. Bowers. Any more discussion? If not, we'll call the roll, I guess.
Alt,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Curtis.
Yeah.
Young.
Yes.
Johnson. McTaggart.
Yes. Okay. Very good. Back to the budget. Okay. You all should have gotten an updated paper clipped pages here that Looks like this. Has the budgets. When we left, was that 9/18 when we met? No.
920. Yeah, it's 920.
Jill worked on it. We had talked about those different adjustments we were gonna put in the budget when we were all together at our last budget meeting there a couple weeks ago. Those were all incorporated. I do believe out of the things we had discussed that day, the 2% or the 2.5% increase that we agreed to pencil in, or whatever you wanna call it, or adjust everybody to a flat rate. That number wasn't right that we were using, if I'm correct, because the 2.5% was, but the total amount saved, can't remember what I said now, but back then, but it was overstated some because we had Joel's salary in there and
Right.
some other things
This has
that
been
weren't
fixed.
subject to to our decision making necessarily. So she adjusted that number, and that's reflected in this new 920 number that you see. So I know that was one thing that had to be
Yeah, and
corrected.
again, the maintenance is gonna have to be adjusted again if there's gonna be a part-time position
Okay.
added.
I thought we had something.
I do, but now now it's decided as a part-time position with the possible $22 an hour, I'm gonna have to adjust it.
Okay.
So it may change, it may lower, it may.
Okay. So we need to get to the bottom of that. But there's, on the second page, you'll see a lot of adjustments. There were some additional, adjustments here. I don't know if we want to go through those or read them, or if anybody else had any other things that they noticed when we were, what I had, after our meeting on the 18th or 20th, I talked with Jill and we kind of went back through, or she did the bulk of it, was not me. And kind of identified some areas where we were increasing
Just small amounts.
small
or
amounts here and there throughout the budget.
Looked
that-
at a trend for a couple of them and.
Looking back at the trends and stuff and seeing if there's spots where we could cut out some expense. The other thing, the bigger part of that was she spoke with Lisa Fancher and Lisa Hines. And remind me again what those exact numbers are, because we talked about it a week ago.
Lisa Hines is increasing her, general fund transfer from both her automation, circuit clerk and court documents to 35,000.
And it was at 25.
Correct.
Yes.
And then I had talked to Lisa Fancher about the automation county recorder, because she was originally negotiable. And we set that at 15,000.
Okay. So we gained about $25,000 there as well. And then there's a host of other items there you can read through, some of which were included in our discussion last time. These are all the things that have changed since the September meeting. The stuff we talked about at last meeting on the 20th, plus these things like she just mentioned from Elisa's being generous and helpful, and some other items. So we can.
I'm not in favor of that 100% increase for
Excuse me,
Dr.
sorry.
Youssef no, from 12,000 to 24,000, I'm sorry. We have pending litigation with that right now, so I say we leave that at 12,000 and save ourselves 12,000 right there.
I just left it the same because it wasn't discussed.
Okay, so that's one thing we would need to. Yeah, I don't think we've ever actually talked about, or since he presented that, that was one thing that we did.
And he is adding cats as of January 1st. So I don't know if that's
Okay,
something you want to
so
take into
background,
consideration.
just so everybody's on the same page, Sherry's talking about the last page that has the non-union salaries on here. Dr. Youssef had requested when he came back in July that his salary for being in charge of animal control be, currently it's $12,000 and he requested it double to $24,000. And that's one thing I don't think in all these subsequent meetings we've ever got back around to. Currently sitting in the budget, it's still at the 24 he requested. His reasoning, I believe, was that compared to other counties, I think
Right,
he
and we
felt
haven't had
like,
an increase in so many years.
and he had had an increase in so many years. And
The
now
addition
there's
of
cats that we gotta tag or do something with. And that was his justification for wanting a pay increase. I guess we need to make a decision probably on, I guess, as it sits right now, that's still where he presented it. And so if there's a discussion or thought on that should be changed, moved, whatever, now would be the time, because we're getting down to the wire here where we need to get this thing kind of wrapped up. So that's one good point. You can look through these other points that Jill has made that are listed out there. The page I was just on where it had listed everything. Those are all the adjustments, basically from what was originally submitted, that have been made, both from our meeting and then in addition to that. So that's how we got from the 918 number down to the September 20th number, where we have a $2,467 surplus. And there is the, I don't know how much money we had in there for, do you remember, Chris, what we had in your, but for the part-time, for the snow?
For-
Do we have a part-time person listed in there? No.
For what?
No, okay, never mind, sorry, I thought we hit it. Never mind, I thought the
He's got a
person,
fee for
the
it all.
person we just talked about, that we just approved or said you could, I thought we had a placeholder in there for that, and apparently we did not.
No, we did not originally. With this 2,467 surplus, I did put in a little bit, but not at the $22 that was discussed, so it'll have to be adjusted again.
Okay, so,
So what would you like us to do with this? Come back again, or what's your plan?
I guess if we need to have another meeting, we can have another meeting, but if we don't need to have another meeting, we could
Be nice to.
hopefully wrap it up. I mean, would be an ideal thing, because, well, we have to have this posted by,
October, I left it in my office, I believe it's October 28th.
so before our next
It
finance
has to
committee.
be before that, because we have to approve it at the November board meeting.
It has to be posted for 10 days.
So we'd have to have a meeting here in a week or two, if we wanted, fairly soon, by the middle of the month, to, if we want more time.
Well, we need to get that
Need to
employee
get that.
thing straightened out.
And then Dr. Reese did a decision on that.
Right.
What my feeling is I think we should at least have a discussion, or, I don't know if there's much to the Dr. Youssef, that anybody's gonna walk away from here and have some brilliant epiphany. So if we can have some kind of a discussion here today and hopefully be done with that, that would be good. Or say, yes, we're just gonna leave it, or no, or whatever. And then basically, I think we'd be waiting on Chris's guy or girl, and we
Yeah, we're
kinda
trying
have
to
things
that
wrapped up.
adjusted today. And emails even.
If we gave what he's asking for, do we have something, do we need to take something out of the budget to cover that, or what?
No, it's included as of now, even if you wanted to do half of what he asked for, moving from 12 to 18, it's totally up to him.
I worry about the other part.
Are we talking about
If
Dr.
he
Youssef
left-
Yeah.
you're talking about?
Yeah, if he
Okay.
left, what would it cost us to bring somebody in?
He's not gonna leave.
Right?
He's not gonna leave.
I've heard that before, places where they left.
Yeah, but we've got pending litigation, so we don't know what that might end up costing us. So I'd say for this year, we stay right where we're at. If the cats increase and all that comes to be something, then we can reevaluate it next year, but right now, it is what it is. That's me.
I guess we can pick any number too, it doesn't have to be 24. The one thing I would say is that I don't know how much additional you think, or if you just even have a ballpark of a range of what Chris's person potentially will add to this number that we got. Mike? Simplistically thinking, which maybe doesn't warrant what the right thing to do as an animal control, but if we could adjust that number and help cover the gap we have on the other,
Yep.
we can about put a bow on the thing. But
Yeah, because there's $12,000 right there. Chris's guy comes in at $22 an hour.
Yeah, so 21.
It's $22,000 for 1,000 hours.
Yeah.
So that only
are
leaves
we
you
planning on
$9,000.
1,000 hours, or, I mean, see, that's, I
But you
mean,
gotta figure at the, at the most, isn't that?
Yeah.
I would.
That's what you said.
I did, I mean, that's.
Well, I'm just figuring on what you said at the outside number of hours.
That's like the max.
Right,
That's the max
so,
for
but
the
if you're
year,
doing a
but-
budget,
Yeah,
Well, you were
wanna do
saying
your
that it
math.
wouldn't be that much for the, I mean, given the past couple, I mean, I don't know. You've gotta, I
Well,
guess
still-
you need to give us a number, or,
Yeah, I would figure out the math, like,
Yeah.
yeah, would be
it's a
22.
tool, so that's 22,000, that still is $13,000. Right, $13,000
well,
savings.
unless he,
Yeah.
he was giving an example, I think, that if it was the max, it would be 22. But I guess if we thought that, if he didn't think that he's actually gonna use them that much, I don't know.
I'm thinking more like over the course of a year, like 300 to 400 hours.
Well, the point is that, okay, let's put it at,
Probably $2,000.
if we put it at somewhere in that neighborhood, 400 or 500, that's what the budget will be. And then,
12,000. And you make that 12.
Right.
excuse me. I guess my,
You wanna put it at 12,000 for Chris's part-time?
where are you at now, though? You have something there.
I have a total of, 27,000, and I did that number based off the $13 at a full-time position. So,
So you had 27,000 total, so you're saying our number would come down. Okay, well then now we got,
Oh, you were thought I was gonna, you were on the wrong page.
yeah, you're talking.
I thought we were gonna go up.
No, no.
So we're gonna gain,
Yeah, you're gonna gain.
if we
The
put,
person worked 300 hours at $6,600 for the year.
Yeah, and I based it higher than that, so,
and you're at 27, and is the number we got in
yeah,
here.
based off of.
So
what
we got
full-time-
at least 20,000 buffer right now.
Nice thing, I did never buff.
Well,
The buff always falls off.
Okay, so even if you put it at the worst case scenario, we're gaining 5.
Right. I mean, I just like
So
big buff.
now we have a surplus of 7,500 with, Doctor, you said that, 24. I guess, I think we got that problem. Okay, so the point is that that number is gonna gain us some money, whatever that is. We're covered in that, we're not exposed on the new part-time person. I would think the last thing that needs to be discussed then is Dr. Youssef, because it seems like we're okay with Chris. So Sherry is clearly saying, leave it the same.
Yep. That's
Do
it.
we have any other opinions?
He's gonna have more work with the cats, isn't he?
Maybe.
What do you mean?
I don't think people are gonna just.
Well,
flock in.
it's gonna be slow,
Right.
I had a discussion with Dr. Yusuf and we looked at some counties that are currently doing it, and we kind of estimated just for ordering purposes around, 4,000 cats for registration for next year, just based off of some of the other counties, and then based off of what he already has for clients, him personally has for clients that come in and get their cats taken care of. Some people do, a lot of people don't, but I have a feeling a lot of cats are gonna become barn cats and not companion cats, but yeah. There'll be a slight increase, but not.
See, we haven't getting increases in the past.
I do believe he's been at, that position's been at 12,000 for,
Yeah, I think he stated like the past decade or something. I'm
A
not
very
100%
significant
sure
amount
on
of
that. Biggest thing with cats is gonna be the feral cats that are brought in. No, but if they're brought in feral, he still has to give them the shots.
Yeah, but we pay separately for that.
Yeah, I
mean,
just you're talking about just the work.
yeah.
can we do something in the middle? I guess, does anyone have any thoughts on this?
I do believe he's been on a base pay for that long, and that kind of.
My one thing would be is that here we
We need an
spread
increase.
over the 2.5% for everybody else, and that position's been getting paid the same thing for a decade. I don't know that and that the workload's any less. I mean, let's say he did quit, are you gonna be, and we're still paying in 2 decades old rate, there's, to Chris's point from earlier about his guy, or person, you trying to retain or get somebody that's willing to do it. And know that there's never a pay increase for a decade. Might
Maybe
not.
100% is pretty big, I'll grant you that.
Yeah, I agree with that. That
Maybe,
seems excessive, but
15% or something like that would be modest. Yeah.
well, then we need to fire if that's the case. I mean, I don't know if that.
Don't hear much support, I don't hear much saying.
So Sherry's saying nothing. Is there agreement that that's where we want to go, or is there a counter idea of 15, 18, 20, 24, I don't know, anything that we can debate here or make a
I say nothing for this year, and we can review it next year and see what the cats are like, and then everything else should be settled as well, and then we can go from there. I don't think one more year is, it's not like. Other people have asked for a lot of money that we haven't given too, so I mean,
No,
you know.
I think the amount is excessive, I just. Don't know, how do we do this? Do you take a vote, or someone make a motion, or?
It's up to the committee to decide what they wanna do, there's a lot of factors to take into consideration.
Yes, John, you
You
have,
brought up about pending litigation, you know, county's only liable there for $1,000. Insurance that covers that. deductible is $1,000. The judgment goes against the county. As far as the other part, you're talking about the position and not the person.
Right.
And I think the fact that, you're going back to when Dr. Fennell did this. That's a long, long time ago. My recommendation would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,000 increase.
Ted?
Something that sends a positive message and not a negative message would be another way of putting it.
I think we can all agree we don't like 24, right? Okay, so we have a motion. John was suggesting 15, Sherry suggesting 0, or 12, keeping it at 12, which is 12,000. Sherry and John are the only ones with opinions.
Can you imagine that?
Yep.
Okay, well, I guess we'll have another meeting then, won't we?
Yes. If we don't get this resolved, we're gonna have to have another meeting. So I think we just need to come up with a number,
Another meeting anyway, so.
potentially. Well,
Not that my opinion matters, but I would be okay with the 15 as well, if it hasn't had an increase in over a decade, the position itself. But I also understand Sherry's position, and there is still a pending.
sure. So Sherry, that was a motion to keep it at 12, was
Yes.
that?
Yes.
Okay, is there a second to that motion? Is there a second to the motion? Okay. Nobody's gonna second keeping it the same.
But nobody's gonna.
Is there any other motions to, on what it should be?
Well, this is holding everything up, right, the whole budget, so, why don't we give them a slight increase? But I don't know what the number is. What's he asking?
He's asking for double.
To go from 12,000 to 24,000.
John suggested doing a $3,000 increase.
Yeah.
So taking him from 12 to 15
I'll make that motion.
for the position.
We have a motion to set his salary at 15,000. Anybody second? Mr. Curtis? Take a vote.
Alt,
Yes.
Bowers,
Yes.
Curtis,
Yes.
Young,
Yes.
Johnson, McTaggart.
Yes. Okay. I do think that would give us a $9,000 increase from where we're at. And then we got about a $15,000. We're at 24,670 in the black. That would give us an extra 9,000. And then how much do we save on the, if we go down to 12, or I guess if we left it at 12,000, the part-time person, it's 15,000-ish.
Right now with that, 12,000 for the part-time maintenance employee and 15 for Dr. Yusuf, we're at a positive $16,690.
We'd be at positive 16,000, whatever she said.
I'll get to 17,000.
almost $17,000 in the black on the general fund. And nobody even got in a fist fight. Okay, so I think, I think, can we,
Can you tentatively go over that at the meeting
Yeah.
on Tuesday, so that
Yeah.
everybody
The only
has
other
an
thing is the
opportunity?
public safety fund, your decision on.
but that's actually a separate fund, so I
Mhm.
understand we do
general's
need to
good.
make some decisions. That, the general fund,
Mhm.
we're theoretically almost $17,000 in the black. I would say we tentatively, or I don't know what the right term is, send that to the board, or how do you do this, John?
I guess you could do that. I think it's very suggesting that the board can take time to review it.
Okay.
And say, go over in detail. I think a lot of the changes that have been made can be summarized and put.
Yeah, put in a summarized sheet, give it to people, Jill can prepare that for them. So, you need to take a vote to do that, or no? Okay. We'll make those two changes, I guess it is two changes, from this 920 version. Send that to the board for them to review, the full board meeting.
You can hit highlights when you do the report.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll list it as a separate item on the agenda that way, so it won't
Okay.
be part of the report.
Very good.
We'll list it as a separate item.
Chris, yeah.
Question, do you want me to come up with for the full board meeting a detailed job description?
I think that'd be good.
Okay.
Kind of outlining those, not to exceed 1,000, whatever, part-time, whatever, like we talked about. Yeah, that would be good. Because I have this eerie feeling there will be a discussion about it. Okay, well, that's good. And then we still do need, there is the public safety
Right.
thing that needs to be resolved at some point there, which just sit on that here.
We'll do that next month if you want.
Okay, next month we'll look at that. Yes, sir. Eric.
I missed the last finance committee meeting. I heard a rumor that the iPOS cable system was cut. Is that true?
Yes.
I do believe it was.
Okay.
Yes.
I have some additional information.
Okay.
I'd like to reconsider that. I know it's no, and I understand that, but I am asking for less than 2% what is taken in annually by the public safety fund. So if you have time right now, I'm going to do that on that.
We don't have it.
Well, if you're talking about the public safety, I'm not saying we can't hear about it again, but the public safety is, we're not gonna talk about public safety right now, the public safety money. It's not gonna be in the general fund budget, I can assure you that. If you wanna make a presentation about including in the public safety or provide some additional information about it, that's fine, but we do need to finalize those numbers for what impacts the sheriff and Eric as well. So,
Okay. If the committee has time, I'll make a presentation so you can make your decision later,
okay. You mean now?
if that's okay.
Can you just do that at the next meeting when we actually talk about that?
Can you do it at the next meeting?
I can do my best. I have a hard time making all the finance committee meetings, but I can do my best.
Okay, let's do that.
Mike,
Yes,
is there a list someplace where everybody can see, where the rest of us can see what? things
Jill
have
should be
changed
able
with
to-
that? You don't want to copy one?
I don't think anything impacted you other than your donation. But, and then the salaries, of course, that we finalized at 2.5. Yeah, and Jill, I guess for any of the board or department heads or whatever, Jill has all that information, so feel free to get a hold of her on kind of where we're sitting. That being said, we'll keep moving. Claims,
Mike, if I
Yes.
could go back to the budget for just a second and interject also that anybody doesn't know that we have reached a tentative agreement with FOP on their contract, which is 2.5%.
2.5, okay,
So that is something
yeah,
should
thank
be
you.
finalized. We expect their vote to be taken in our being aware of their vote by this Friday, and then it'll be on the agenda next Tuesday as well for the board to ratify that contract.
Okay, thank you. With that, we're gonna move to claims. We have our normal claims, and I think Eric has some EMEA ones that didn't, there wasn't a quorum at P&P, so there's 3 of those, as he mentioned. It looks like they're all for fence oil related to the mileage and travel and things like that. And they're within his budget, as he mentioned, with during department head. And then there's something from tax committee. Oh, these are the trust fund things that we already approved. Yeah, so, okay.
What's the, payout for unknown heir? Yeah. Payout for unknown heir of Betty Meadows. It'd like be page 6, it's on the back side.
Oh, I'm not 100% sure those came from the treasurer's office, but I can find out.
What is that, was a tax bill?
Has something to do with the trust, I believe. I can look into it, what exactly it was. But there should be documents in the claim.
How long will your plotter ink last there, Eric?
Oh, you like that?
Oh my goodness.
So, I got that plotter printer about a year ago, I wanna say.
Right.
And it came with a starter cartridge for 69 milliliters. The ones that you see purchased there are the full set of ink cartridges, which is 6 ink cartridges, and they are at 300 milliliters. So, I expect it to last some.
Okay, it doesn't dry out or get nasty or whatever?
It does dry out, but as long as you use it, like once a month.
Okay,
So
you're good.
if I haven't had it if I haven't used it for once in a month, then I usually just print out an extra amount. It doesn't cost a lot of ink, you get to fill it. Also, I've mentioned this in the past, I thought this would be a great tool to other departments, and I'm able to assign at cost per amount that I print. If other departments want to use that and just reimburse the inmate for the cost, I think it would be a great tool for the rest of the departments in Norfolk County.
Are there any other questions on the claims?
Presumably, they defaulted on the loans, the property tax. Got it, okay.
Okay, if not, we need a motion to approve the claims.
So moved.
Second by Mr. Alt. Roll call.
Alt?
Yes.
Bowers?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Young?
Yes.
Johnson? Yes. McTaggart?
Yes. Okay.
You gonna vote yes, too?
We have any old business or new business? If not, we can have a motion to adjourn. Mr. Young, Carrie, seconded.
That's good.
All in favor, aye.
Nice. All right. Well, you can show up, and they know you're a farmer.